Like a lot of other people, I love the Source engine and basically grew up with it. And since I was a kid and was too scared to ask mom to buy me Half-Life 2, I ended up playing the free demo on Steam over and over and over, and also downloading some pretty interesting source mods back in the day. And some of these source mods were actually pretty good from what I remember, but there were also some other ones that were pretty strange. I remember these games being kind of alive and full of people probably way older than me and would have bullied me out of the server if I ever dared to use a mic, which of course I never did. But now these games are pretty much forgotten about by most people, and the people that do remember these games hop on once in a blue moon. Which is kind of sad because there were some really fun games from what I remember. And that's what we're going to be doing today, so let's explore the first game that I played a bunch of back in the day called Modular Combat. So booting up the game and clicking find servers, you end up finding not a single server. There are 0 servers to be found, and that caught me by surprise because there's usually at least 1 or 2 servers still running in these games, even with no people, but Modular Combat has nothing. So we will be creating our own server, and there are only 7 maps, so I guess we'll pick the first one. Booting into the server, we are greeted with a classic Source splash screen and a voice that sounds like GLaDOS talking to us.
Welcome to Modular Combat. Please enter your name and security code so that I may present you with your HEV Mark 6 suits.
It asks to log into an account, which I think is unique, and apparently I had an account already, so I went and logged in. And it looks pretty similar to Half-Life 2 Deathmatch, but with some tweaks to the HUD font, and the gravity gun has some blue shit on the end of it. Instead of a crowbar, you have a portal security camera, which I think is pretty neat. The normal Half-Life 2 pistol has changed, but it actually looks really cool. I wasn't remembering much of the game, but then I walked up this way and all of the nostalgia came flooding in because I remember this map the most. Before loading in, I was trying to remember which map I was thinking of, and when I got up here I realized that this was the map, so pretty nice coincidence. I was pressing buttons, and when I clicked B, it opened up a menu in which you can buy certain upgrades and even buy ally zombies to help you. You can buy these with points you get from, I think, just killing things. I was also wondering why there wasn't anything spawning because I remember there being a bunch of enemies from Half-Life 2. And that's when I found this menu, which you can vote for a certain mode, and there was a TDM and deathmatch mode, so I guess this game is just Half-Life 2 deathmatch but on steroids. I picked the Hoarder mode and some man hacks, and a fucking hunter from episode 2 spawned in, and it was actually really fun fighting these monsters despite there only being me. There were a variety of zombies and whatnot from Half-Life 2, even these antlion workers, which I think were in episode 2, but I could be wrong. I ended up playing around with this for like 20 minutes by myself, and it made me sad that this game is completely dead because I think this would be a super fun game to just hop in and mess around with other people. But sadly, I don't think that will ever happen again. There probably hasn't been a server active in this game for possibly 5 years or over. If you haven't ever heard of this game or played this game, I suggest checking it out, even if it's just by yourself. So I think this game is supposed to be just like a metaverse kind of thing where you have other people in the game while one person runs a whole theater in his house basically. And it sounds cool, but I remember it being kind of boring, like there wasn't much to it besides hang out and watch random shit on a TV or play a game on an arcade machine. It is pretty interesting for a source mod, but when I was looking at the Steam page it didn't really look like a source mod anymore, so I went and downloaded a super old version from 12 years ago, and it wasn't even called Anarchy Arcade, it was called Source Media Arcade, so I thought that I downloaded the wrong thing, but on the ModDB page it said Anarchy Arcade, so I just went with it and booted it up. Like I expected, there weren't any servers, so I created my own and picked the first map. I'm gonna put a seizure warning right here because there's a lot of bright colors, and even if there's not flashing lights, I'm still afraid of somebody having epilepsy, so if you do, don't watch this part of the video. When I loaded in, I was greeted with a weird splash screen and a bunch of missing textures and errors. The gravity gun was super messed up and everything was a missing texture besides some TVs. I'm pretty sure this mod was using Half-Life 2 Deathmatch because I had the weapons and the footsteps sounded like it was from it, so that's a bit odd. I clicked on this weird looking stand and it brought up a very interesting splash screen, and there was a link to teach you how to play it, which is pretty cool. I thought the stand had anime Hulk Hogan on it, but I think it was just a video because it had a YouTube link. There was this dope ass GoldenEye 64 arcade cabinet which you could connect your emulator and play from this mod, which is pretty awesome. I went to open the store and my game crashed. Alright, well, it is a 12-year-old source mod with some missing content, so whatever. The next map should be fine. Oh, never mind, it's the same thing. This map, I guess, is supposed to be an actual arcade, so if it didn't have any missing textures, this would actually be really cool. There wasn't much to explore, so I moved on to the next map, which was SM Gallery. Okay, this map seems to only have a few missing textures. Never mind, it's the same shit. This looks to be a gallery for showcasing some stuff and a whole movie theater, which is interesting. I went to open this door and my game crashed again. Okay, so this mod seems very unstable, so I caved in and downloaded the real Anarchy Arcade off Steam. I booted it up and went to load into a single player map, and it said in the bottom, load into your local metaverse as a god? Alright, well that's a bit weird, but I loaded in and hey, look at that, it actually looks like a map now. I walked around a bit and realized that I would probably have to set up a bunch of stuff, so I ended up leaving and joining a server, and when I loaded in I had so many questions. I was actually trying to figure out if these were real people, but they were just NPCs and I was the only one on the server. I ended up finding Dave Blunt's, and I got stuck in a couch that randomly loaded in. But I remembered that this was a Source game, so I just typed kill in the console. This really does not look like a Source game. Like, if you told me that this was some weird metaverse Second Life kind of game not running on the Source engine, I would believe you. This guy had a bunch of stuff and also had this. So yeah, there honestly wasn't much to this game, and like I remembered, it was kind of boring. I would 100% pick Modular Combat by myself over this any day. Honestly didn't play much of this game as a kid because I think it was too complicated for my puny brain, because all I wanted to do was ragdoll my characters, so I don't remember much about this game. What I do know is that this is definitely the coolest looking source mod ever. Like, look at this main menu. It looks awesome. This time there were actually a few servers, but sadly there was no one on. Maybe on the weekends there were people, but I was playing on a random Wednesday, so yeah, didn't join a server, and once again made my own and picked the coolest sounding map I saw. I loaded in, and already just from the team select, this game looks so cool. Kind of like in Team Fortress, you can pick from 3 classes, light, medium, and heavy. And you can pick from a bunch of, I guess, upgrades and perks called implants. Again, a very unique source mod. I have never seen anything like it. I mean, just look at this scenery. This actually looks insane. This could totally be a standalone game. It told me to destroy this transformer, so I just fired at it mindlessly for like a minute straight. I'm pretty sure you and a team are supposed to shoot at it so it gets destroyed faster, but I was alone, so whatever. I followed the arrows that eventually led me to this thing it said to hack, but I didn't play the tutorial like an idiot, so I was just pressing E and shooting it, not knowing I needed a cyber deck to destroy it. You get a cyber deck from the perk select, but like a moron, I didn't choose the important thing I need, I just chose a bunch of shit that sounded cool. So I gave up and loaded into a different map, and this time I actually got a cyber deck. I was exploring, and again, this level design looks so awesome. I love the vibe and the look of this game. It's so dystopian. Oh shit, that's fucking funny. Oh shit. Anyway, I eventually found the thing I needed to hack and figured it out. And I spawned into this crazy looking room. Like, again, I thought that this is a source mod? Like, this is insane. This is probably the coolest looking thing I've ever seen. Why didn't I play this as a kid? I can't really explain the way this feels when playing. It feels super weird, but in the coolest way possible. It actually felt like I was tripping balls playing this. So this room, or whatever you want to call this, is the way you hack the enemy system and win. I don't know if you have other people in this weird room, but if you do, that's pretty sick. It took me a little bit to figure out how to hack it, but I eventually did, and that's basically it. It's kind of just capture the flag. I don't know if there's any other modes, but even if there aren't, I feel like this game would be super fun to play with other people. Maybe I'll play again on a weekend when people are actually playing, because this would be a sick game to just play for hours and hours. This game is extremely underrated in my opinion. This is definitely a source mod I really recommend, especially if you like this underground cyberpunk vibe. Okay, listen, I know what you're gonna say. This isn't a source mod, this is just an old version of Gary's mod, but hold on. GMod has mod in it. It was originally a mod for Half-Life 2, and Half-Life 2 runs on the source engine, so it's a source mod. I don't care. So loading in, it already looks very different from the Gmod we have now. Very bare bones menu, but I kind of like it. It has some charm to it. I remember there being servers, but when I opened up the server browser, it just stayed refreshing for a minute and then said it couldn't contact the game master, whatever that means. But good thing this is Gmod and I can just start a single player game. There is a whole bunch of game modes and maps. Even the Half-Life 2 deathmatch maps are in here. But when I try to load into the CSS or Half-Life 2 deathmatch maps, it just says it can't be found on the console. So I loaded into Construct, and right off the bat, this version looks a lot more gloomy and dystopian compared to the one we have in Gmod 13. We also spawn with the gravity gun instead of the fizz gun, which is kind of weird. The fizz gun also looks completely different, but it looks kind of cool. I like the little logo on it. We also spawn with the stun stick, but for me it's just an error. This version of course still has the super duper creepy dark room, but it's a lot more smaller than it is in Gmod 13. Another thing is the spawn menu is very janky and honestly not very good, but it still gets the job done. Mine was a bit broken though. When I try to spawn other things, the characters overlap and I can't spawn anything else, so that kind of sucks. The way to spawn NPCs is really weird. Instead of an NPC tab, which I was looking for, it's in this weird menu where you can't see what you're spawning. It just says the name for what you're gonna spawn. It's fine for what it is, but it is a bit jank. But hey, I'm pretty sure this version came out in like 2006, so we'll cut it some slack. I checked out some of the other game modes, like this Forgotten Graveyard map, which was for a zombies versus humans mode, but I don't know how great it would be since this map is extremely small. There's also this really cool laser dance mode, which is really fun to mess around with. I kind of wish this was in the current Gmod. Maybe there's a mod for it on the workshop. This mode where you have to put props in your base and see who gets the most amount of props, which is actually super fun. You also have soccer, which could also be pretty fun with other people, and a bunch of other game modes, but I'm not going to get into those right now. I have a bit of nostalgia with this version of Gmod. I remember trying to download it because I really wanted a ragdoll, but I didn't know what Steam was, so I was trying to find free versions and ended up finding Gmod 9. I didn't know what a source mod or Half-Life was, so when I was trying to download it, I don't think it worked because I didn't have Half-Life nor Counter-Strike. It would pop up this big yellow message in a browser and tell you if you didn't have these games, it wouldn't work. For some reason, I didn't understand that, so I tried to get my mom to help me out, but of course she doesn't know what to do. So being a stupid kid, I just kept downloading it over and over, hoping maybe it would just work, but of course it never did. I remember having to go somewhere and I was like, well, maybe if I download Gmod 9 while I'm gone and come back, it will just magically work. Yeah, I was so disappointed. I actually quite like this version of Gmod. It's very reminiscent of old Source, and I'm a huge sucker for anything Source Engine. Even as a kid, I was super into trying to get the 2004 version of Half-Life 2. I don't know why I was so obsessed with that kind of stuff. I wish there were still servers up for Gmod 9. I would have loved to join some for this part of the video, but it's alright. At least we can still download and experience Gmod 9 to this day. And I think that's most of the source mods that I used to play back in the day. If you enjoyed this video, then maybe you'll like some of my other videos. Sorry I didn't go too in depth with the games, and if I missed any source mods that you would have wanted me to play in this video, let me know and maybe I'll make a part 2. I tried to pick source mods that I used to play back in the day that I haven't really seen people talk about, especially like Modular Combat and Anarchy Arcade. I have not seen people talk about those games before. But yeah, again, if there's any other source mods that I missed, let me know and maybe I'll make a part 2. And I hope you enjoyed the video.